Living on credit rarely starts as a bad decision. It usually begins as a solution. A credit card helps you get through a tight month, handle an emergency, or smooth out uneven income. At first, nothing feels wrong. Life continues, bills get paid, and the credit card quietly fills the gap. The danger is that this calm beginning hides what's slowly forming underneath. Over time, credit starts to feel like money you earn. The limit feels like availability, not risk. Because you can swipe now and worry later, your spending no longer reflects your real income. The line between what you can afford and what you're borrowing becomes blurry, and that's where trouble begins. Minimum payments make the situation feel under control. The numbers are small, manageable, and easy to ignore. You feel responsible because you're paying something. But while you're focused on the minimum, interest quietly builds in the background, stretching the debt further into the future. Interest doesn't feel dangerous at first because it's invisible. You don't see it grow daily, but it compounds relentlessly. The longer the balance stays, the more your money works for the lender instead of for you. Over time, you realize you've paid far more than you ever borrowed. Because credit is available, saving feels less urgent. Emergencies no longer push you to build a buffer, they push you to swipe again. Slowly, credit becomes your emergency fund. This creates a fragile financial life where every surprise increases long-term stress instead of being absorbed safely. Living on credit slowly changes how you live. Subscriptions, convenient spending, and small upgrades creep in. None of them feel extreme, but together they raise your baseline. You're not living extravagantly, you're just living slightly beyond your means every day. At some point, the balance stops being abstract. You start checking statements with tension. You think about money more often, but feel less in control. Stress becomes background noise. Not loud enough to panic, but constant enough to drain energy and focus. When you live on credit, your entire life depends on steady income. Any disruption, job loss, reduced hours, illness, instantly becomes a crisis. Without savings, there's no room to adjust. Everything feels like it could collapse at once. Debt limits choices. You can't take risks, change jobs, or slow down without fear. Even good opportunities feel dangerous because your financial structure is too tight. Credit, which once created freedom, now quietly removes it. Long-term credit use doesn't just affect money, it affects identity. Guilt, shame, and frustration creep in, even if you've done nothing reckless. You feel like you're always catching up and never arriving, which makes financial decisions harder, not easier. The longer debt stays, the more time you lose. Years that could have been used to build savings, invest, or rest are spent maintaining balances. The cost isn't just interest, it's the future progress that never happens. Living on credit creates momentum. Payments, habits, and lifestyle all adapt around it. Breaking free feels overwhelming because stopping requires discomfort now for relief later. Most people stay stuck not because they can't change, but because the system feels heavy. The shift begins when credit stops being the solution and becomes the signal. Instead of using it to survive, you start using it as feedback, a sign that savings must come first. This mental shift changes the direction even before the numbers change. Credit is not income, it's a tool, and tools must be controlled. When credit runs your life, it shrinks your future. When you run it, it becomes a backup, not a burden.